Hey everybody, this is Brian with Home Audio Basics, and in today's video we're going to be discussing having a plan for your space that you're building. As you can see with our room, we are doing a down to the studs renovation for this space. This is the basement family room, as you can probably tell by our tiny little windows up here. And this house was built in 1969, and this space down here had wood paneling on the walls. There's a bar in the corner over here that actually took up almost a third of the room. It was unnecessarily large. And my wife and I, as we were discussing what to do with this space, we decided to take that bar out because, for one, we don't really have a need for a bar, but also we would rather have extra room for socializing. My wife has a gigantic family. We like to have friends over, so we want to have a little more room down here for having company. The paneling had to come down because it was moldy and it had some mildew issues from water damage. Now, I've pulled all the insulation loose on these walls, and it's not from the exterior walls. That bar actually shares a drain, which I'll show you in a moment here, with the kitchen. And so occasionally you get a clog after the Y where the two pipes come together, and it would backflow out through the sink that was behind the bar. There wasn't a stopper valve in there to prevent that from happening. So over the 50 plus years that this house has been standing, that's apparently happened a lot of times because when we pulled the bottom plate of the bar up, it smelled terrible. So flooding this space multiple times, that paneling just soaked all that up, and it had to go. So this is going to be done with drywall, and then we'll discuss that all further. I went to M-Wave 2024. They had expanded the show and had a number of industry professionals that were giving talks about how to do different aspects of home theater. And Anthony Gramani of Gramani Systems spoke. And I know everybody talks about Anthony Gramani and how awesome he is, which he really truly is. I didn't get a chance to speak with him, but he was a wealth of knowledge and a lot of information that really helped me with deciding what I'm going to do with this space. So one of the things that Anthony really was big on was have a plan. Whether it's a finished space or down to the studs like we have here, you need to have a plan. And that's not just where you're going to place speakers, where you're going to place acoustical treatments. In this case, we have a number of things that need to be done with this space down here because of the fact that this house is over 50 years old. We have a lot of electrical work that needs to be updated. We have one of those wonderful Federal Pacific stab lock panels. I'll go into more detail about this in the video about electrical for the basements, but these are a fire hazard. And in the area that we live, we looked at, I think it was about 50 houses. And of those, most of them were built in the late 50s to mid 60s. And then there's one house in our budget that was built, I think, in like 86. That one in 86 had a modern GE breaker panel. One house that was built in, I think, 55 still had a fuse box. And everything else had these stab lock panels, which was absolutely shocking to me because these have a fault in their design for the breakers where they won't trip properly when they're overloaded, so it can cause a fire. And even today, these are still cause a lot of house fires. So we have a plan in place to get this taken care of. It's just a matter of getting it scheduled, and I have to work with the code enforcement to discuss some other things that we're planning on doing with this space, which I'll go into in the electrical video because it all ties together, because we have to have our separate permit from what the electrical guy is doing. And so part of your plan should also consider other parts of the house that may need to have some aspect of that function of the house addressed at the time that you're making changes to this space. As an example, directly above this room is our kitchen. We've got the dishwasher just over here, kind of over where the end of the couch is going to be. And then we have the main drain for the kitchen sink directly above us. The dishwasher also drains through that. And then we've got that Y splitter that's down here just out of frame that goes over to where the bar was. That's going to be eliminated. But that's something that we have to think about, because while this is all in good shape, I'm not too worried about this leaking. However, this clean out here, it's been open because there's some water damage on the framing that apparently from when they must have snaked it out at some point, they pulled some stuff out and didn't dry it, so it kind of rotted the wood a little bit. So that clean out still has the brass plug in it. So does that need to be replaced? The Y splitter, I don't want to put a cap on that because I don't want this eventually leaking again. So I'd rather have that short stubby section replaced. So what we're probably going to do is from where it goes into the floor, from that Y section up to the sink, we'll probably go ahead and replace that. Just to play it safe, again with the plumbing up here. Let me grab my camera and I'll show you. So up above us here, you can see that pipe there. That actually goes to the faucet out on the side of the house. And then there's another pipe over here that feeds to the sinks upstairs. Sink, singular, sorry. So the issue with that is that while this plumbing isn't leaking, I don't want to put up drywall and have it start leaking, because again, this is all 50 years old. So that's part of having a plan, is that you're thinking ahead to, okay, so I got this here that could potentially become a problem. So I want to address this now so that way then it doesn't become a problem while I own this house. I don't want to damage drywall. I don't want to have to take things down. I don't want to have to lose the use of the space or cause damage to equipment that's in here because of something that I could have easily addressed while the wall was. We live in a fairly young community, and a lot of the houses in this neighborhood are 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom houses. This one in particular is the 3-bedroom. So one of the things that we're planning on doing, again, part of having a plan, is we want to cut this window to an egress window. And that's something that I'm getting quotes on to, and that'll be addressed in a future video when we do that work. But the thinking behind that is that if we add an egress window here, this then becomes a flex space. So that way then, when we do go to sell the house, this could be a 4th bedroom, or it could still be a family room, home theater, whatever the next owner wants to do with it. But a realtor friend of mine says that for the area we live in, that an egress window is one of the few things that you can do to your home that you'll actually get the dollar value back in value increase in the house. The quotes have been around $1,500 to $2,000, and it would add about $3,000 to $4,000 to the value of our home at a minimum. The fact that there's no 4-bedroom houses within probably 3 miles of where we live, it might actually be more, or it might be kind of neutral. But I think that's effort that's worth doing. It also makes this space safer, because then if something happens down here and there's a fire at the top of the stairs out of here, I can't climb through that. Let's talk about layout of the room. So our room is 15 feet 9 inches wide in that direction. And then from where I'm standing to the far wall is 14 feet 6 inches. And we have a 7 foot 5 inch ceiling down here. So I originally was set on having the room set this way. So it was going to be lengthwise. So I was going to have the TV here. Then we thought about doing a screen. And I was going to, again, kind of plan for the future, so that way then if we sell the house, somebody doesn't want a screen, they've got blocking and outlets set for a TV already. But the issue that we run into is that at about 11 feet, we have a beam and we have a post. So that means that our couch would have to be kind of here where the vacuum is and where that stand is. And with the width of the room that we have, we could do 4, maybe 5 seats, but we'd have to do any additional seating kind of back in this corner and maybe kind of across here. But then you're dealing with an obstructed view. Like if you've ever gone to a baseball game and had to peek around a pole, it'd be like that coming to my house to watch a game. Also, the other issue we ran into is that as I'm planning things, I don't want to do a small screen in here. 98-inch TV is all right, but I want to go bigger. And I don't feel that like 110 to 115 inches warrants the cost of a screen and a projector. So I want to do at least 120 to 150. The issue that we run into with that is that the short throw projectors that can project a image that size, kind of expensive. A little more than I want to spend right now. Also, if we were to put it here in front of the beam, the projectors that can do that kind of screen size at that distance, kind of expensive. Do it under the beam, only gain like 4 inches. The other option is I could, with this opening where the doorway used to be, I could put it back here in the laundry room, but I mean, you got a post. It's going to cast a shadow across there. And you're also dealing with the height. So, I mean, how high up does a projector need to be able to cast on a 120 to 150 inch screen? So, ultimately, we decided to flip the room this way. So, with enough room, if I were to do a false wall kind of below, this is the other great thing, is we got a lot of odd ductwork because this house is old. So with the modern HVAC, we might not need this little crossover for the cold air return. We might be able to cap that off in the other room, but I have to get an HVAC expert out here to tell me if I can make that change or not. Because the airflow needs are not the same with the new, more modern system that was put in here about 8 years ago compared to what was put in here 50 years ago. So that might be a change that I can make and eliminate that. But if I were to put a false wall kind of here, just past the end of that duct. Oh, hello, Mr. Chomper. Here's our Doug Chomper. So if I were to do a false wall kind of across there, I think that gives me 11 feet. So I could do a big IMAX type screen on a nice flip up frame that gives me access to that space behind it. So from where I would need to sit to have enough room for a back row, and then our couch would give me 9 feet to, I think, 130 to 150 inch screen is what we could go up to. Don't hold me to that because I can't remember what the projector central math said, but I think it could go up to 150 inches for that size. Now, if I remember correctly, Youth Man said that he sits about 9 feet from his 150 inch screen in his old house. So he found that to be very immersive. There's other people that have said that 9 to 11 feet is a good distance. So I think that would be okay. And that gives us the flexibility to do, we could do a U-shaped sectional, or we could just do a couch with 4 or 5 seats across here, and then we could do the commercial style flip down seats across the back on a short riser, and then everybody is in direct alignment with the screen, and then we're not needing to worry about talking around a post or anything like that. Another part of having a plan is having drawings. I think that's something that is a good idea because if you have to get your local code enforcement involved, you need to have drawings about any changes that you're planning to make. Depending on your municipality, it may just be for structural issues that you're changing. But where I live, we're going to be relocating a door. We're doing electrical work. We've got plumbing work that we're doing. So they need to be involved in this plan because some of that plumbing is going to get relocated. Electrical has to be relocated. We're adding outlets. We're adding circuits. So I have a plan. I draw like a fifth grader. Actually, that may be more like a third grader. But you can see that I've got my notes about the size of the room down here. But I have the drawing that shows the beam and the general layout of the space as it is right now. So I can show that to the code enforcement when I discuss the plans for getting my permit. And if I can get this page to turn, when the time comes to discuss with them. Oh my gosh, my hands are not working. When it comes time to discuss the changes you're making, so I at least have a start on here showing that I want to relocate the door to here, where on the previous page it was kind of here in the middle, and then I show the plan to cut an egress window and then to relocate the panel. And then I just need to get the precise measurements for what that's going to be when that's all done. Mr. Chomps, you got an itchy face? Come here. Oh, come here. Come say hi to everybody. Oh my gosh. Oh, you knocked my notebook down. But this is Chomper. He's a sweet boy. He chews things up when he's not supposed to, but otherwise he's a good dog. He pees on stuff too, which is annoying. But both of our dogs will be making appearances at times. So, but have a plan. Know what is required for the community that you live in, because my community is known for being a little bit more strict of what's in the metro area for where we live, but it's not as strict as one of the other ones. So we can get by with not doing certain things or doing things a little bit differently compared to if we lived in the other city that butts up against where we live. So you can't completely take my word for what is going to be required. So everything that, I mean, there's the building code, the international building code that everybody has to comply to, but there's variables that may apply to your community. So it's up to you to know what is allowed and what's not. So other part to discuss is having a budget. So you got to know what your budget for the space is going to be. If you're in a room that's already finished, it's going to be a lot cheaper than what I'm going to be spending because I have a lot of finish work to do here. But if you're just buying and doing as it happens without any sort of plan on budget, then you're going to wind up potentially spending a lot more. And if you're in a position that that doesn't matter, congratulations. I'm not yet. I'm not at that point yet. I'm behind on my retirement, so I gotta be mindful about what I'm spending on this project. So have a budget and do it in phases too. So here, we've got the electrical work that we're planning. We've got plumbing work that we're planning. So we're budgeting for those things. And we're getting quotes, which I'll discuss in the video about electrical because it's wild how varied the quotes were that we got for changing that breaker panel. But also for materials when it comes to finishing drywall. Are you doing it yourself? Are you hiring it out? Get quotes, shop around on product because you may find that you can save a lot of money by driving 20 miles. Maybe there's a local hardware store that has everything you need compared to one of the box stores that you might save a little bit of money, but it's a little less convenient to get. But when you're buying that quantity, it might be worth it. Also, planning for equipment. You have to have a plan for what you're going to do when it comes to equipment. I'd like the rack to go kind of here. If that won't work, it'll go in this corner here-ish. So you have to plan out what you're going to do with your space. So as an example, we're planning to have, I think it's going to be 7.2.6. Might do 0.4, but I'd like to do 6 Atmos channels down here if possible. So I will do, oh my gosh, sorry, earthquake. So behind the screen will be the left, center, right channels. And then on the sides from where the couch is going to be will be the right surround and then the left surround. I don't know if it's going to be all the way over on that far wall or if we'll build a column below the post here in the beam to do that. And then we'll have the 2 surrounds. And then I'll probably do angled Atmos speakers in the top part of the false wall. And then yeah, the electrical's a mess in here. We used to have a drop ceiling in here, so you can see just there's changes that have been made over the years, and it's a lot to be updated. But the middle Atmos channels will go above the main seating positions, and then probably angled in the back for rear ones. That was really close to my face. If you're not planning to do Atmos, you should at least run the wiring if you've got the ceiling open like we do. Because in the future, you may experience a demo that changes your mind about Atmos, and you may feel that it's something you want to add, and now you got to take the drywall down from your ceiling and redo it all. But while it was open like this, you could have at least pre-wired for it. And I plan to do our conduit in a way that makes it a little more future-proof. So that way then if there's like width channels that are added to Atmos for up high, or if they make it to where it's a little more discreet and you can have even more channels up high, or same thing with the surrounds, they'll be set so that you can add more in the future as you need to. Now you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself, because if you buy a big TV, you buy your surround processor, and then life gets in the way and it takes another 3 to 5 years to complete the project, and by the time you go to use it, it may not work. It may have been a DOA that you can't do anything about because you're out of warranty. It may be out of date. Like, I'm sure there's people that were buying the biggest, best Denon or Marantz surround receiver at the time that Atmos came out, and they wanted to add Atmos, and they had this product that they bought and spent all this money on that doesn't have that feature, so now they are kind of out of some money because they have to sell it used and don't get as much as they would have previously. But what I'm rambling about is that you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself and start buying things that might be outdated or might not fit your needs by the time the project's completed. So keep that part of the project in mind, and buy as you're able to for certain items, but certain things kind of hold off on it, because you don't want to wind up causing more heartache for yourself than what's necessary. I'd say that probably the last part of having a plan is planning to enjoy your space. Don't build it to be a single seat, 2-channel space. I mean, there's some of us that like that fortress of solitude, but really this is a hobby that should be shared, whether it's 2-channel music system or home theater. I think that the community is good to have, and it's good to have accommodating other people in mind, even if it means that you have to get out some folding chairs to accommodate the last few people. Hey, come here, Clover. Come here. So, ugh. Come here. Oh my gosh. You don't want to be on camera, do you? Oh my God, this is the big girl. This is Clover. She's our other puppy. She's a sweetie. But they like to hang out and watch me work. Oh. Thank you. But make sure that you're planning to be able to accommodate more than just yourself. Have people over, plan to share the hobby, be open to getting new people into the hobby. This is, home audio is one of those things that I've been into for pretty much my entire life, and it's something that I see too many people gatekeep on, whether it's opinions about equipment or just being immediately dismissive and unapproachable when it comes to new people in the hobby. And if somebody asks about a certain brand of speakers you don't like, or which soundbar is the best, help them out with it. But also, sorry, I'm not petting her. So, but you got to be open and available to bringing others into the hobby, and share what you have, share your knowledge, share your experiences, and you don't have to invite everybody over, but oh my gosh, but being that good steward for the hobby, and this is one of those things that doesn't have as high of a participation rate as it used to, and it's dying because people are becoming more content with the soundbar. And soundbars have their place. I think that in a small space, if you need something that just sounds better than the TV speakers, and it points it out in front of the TV instead of back at the wall, it's great for that. But it's not for everybody. So be part of the community, and be kind to everybody, and answer questions. And I'm rambling again, so I'm gonna wrap this video up and say thank you for watching, and make sure you like and subscribe to Home Audio Basics, and we'll see you next time. Well, I have to kind of have my side of things going before we can even have him get started on it. Yeah, I think that's it for it. Going to be what's going to fit our needs when that's done. Excuse me. So, oh my gosh, I'm gonna record that again.